Yo, what up, people? This is gonna be a little bit unorthodox today. Sometimes when you're inspired, you just gotta turn the camera on and go and worry about the politics of production value and all that. Just leave it for the streets. It's so good to see you guys. Welcome to another episode of the Frag Effect. You're with me, Dolo, today. And this is gonna be a fairly quick episode. Content is content, and sometimes the value I want to bring to you guys is short and sweet, and other times it's more elaborate, and that's why I like to bring other voices on and give some additional perspective and all that. But I want to share a personal piece of my journey that happened to me about 2-3 months ago. And I wanted to share with you why you can never write off fragrances or experiences that you have sometimes, because they can lead into really, really cool experiences. And I want to show you one that happened for me. It's not a complete story or anything, but I just felt like turning the camera on and sharing it with you because it'll probably inspire you guys too. I want to show you some things I've been interested in. So check this out here. Let's go to the window real quick. And let me tell you a story. So I recently, I'm not sure if it's out yet. I don't think it is, but I recently did a review on this fragrance right here. Toscavat. So the house is Toscavat and the fragrance is Anarchist. And what's so interesting about this is the fragrance is terrible to me. I forgot what it was rated. 3.36 out of 5, 480 people. The very few people who have dared to try this fragrance have said the same thing. They're very intimidated by this scent. It's an extrait. It smells like gasoline, matches, fire, almost like the residue after lighting fireworks. And don't ask me how I came across this fragrance. I just did. And yeah. Now, as I was reviewing the fragrance, I'm scrolling down, doing my normal 1-2 with you guys, seeing when the fragrance came out, 2022 release, blah, blah, blah. But then this is what happened to me. And I'm not sure if you guys have had an experience like this lately where you've gone into Fragrantica and seen some very odd phantom notes in the fragrance section. And normally the notes, for instance, are unique, but still make sense. Like, for instance, with the release of Desert Rain, there was a petrichor accord, which actually isn't unfamiliar too much to a lot of the fragrance world, because petrichor, which is essentially the scent of rain or after it's rained, any part of that. A lot of people in Europe and overseas are very familiar with petrichor and make their own petrichor accords all the time. It was new to me as an American seeing that. And, due to Michael Paul from Day 3 Fragrances kind of breaking that down to me with their latest collab release with Colton Dixon called Desert Rain, they have petrichor listed. But I say that story to say that, you see petrichor and learn about it, and it makes sense for the fragrance. Oh, the smell of rain. That probably smells interesting, right? But then you run into experiences like this, where the top notes of this fragrance is credit cards, whiskey, and snow. Middle notes, money, candle wax, ink, and base notes of a plastic bag, a priest's clothes, holy water, precious woods, olibanum, and sakura resin green. So the credit cards, the snow, the money, the wax, the ink, the plastic bag, the clothes, the holy water, all that is phantom accords. What do I mean by that? That means somebody made up the note, and they made it up by using various ingredients to make the perceived idea of scent that is associated with that note. Now, multiple people can have a petrichor note. Multiple people can have a plastic bag note. But this perfumer had a lot of phantom notes, and they were so comically done, seemingly, where it made me question, did he actually build a credit card accord? Did he actually build a money accord? Or is he just kind of making fun of the situation to go alongside the fragrance? Because when I smelt it, again, I thought it was the scent of firework residue, kind of this gunpowder, gasoline stuff. I really didn't get the whiskey. It is inky and candle waxy. I didn't get a lot of these bass notes, etc. And so I thought, maybe this guy's just joking. And so obviously I don't think I even scored it. If I did, it would have been a very low rating. And this was kind of where I was about to end the review, right? But something just kind of told me, because the episode would have been really short, search the fragrance a little bit more and try to learn about it. And it was really interesting. Some people compared it to Sauvage, Le Male Elixir. A lot of downvotes with it, but Sauvage got a crazy vote, which is just absolutely blasphemous. So that was intriguing. But then here's the other thing. I wanted to learn about the perfumer to see if it was a trained perfumer or just kind of one of these garage chemists. And I saw this guy, David Lev Jipa Slavinsky. And I clicked him. And let me show you what I found. So he runs the website toscavat.com. So we did a little bit of research into that. I wanted to learn a little bit about the house. Read the manifesto, all that. But then I looked down to see, has he been a part of any other fragrances, or was this kind of a one-off? This is where things got really interesting. So he's perfumed and been a part of a lot of bottles. As you can see here, well over 20, 30 different fragrances. And then I saw that he's not just a part of the Toscavat collection or whatever, but then there's this Adi Alevan. And look at these. Check this out. And so I'm clicking through and I'm going, whoa, 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 whoa. That bottle looked interesting, the Toscavat Anarchist, but these look incredible, right? I mean, check this one out. And then, so I'm looking and I'm seeing, wow, there actually is some very intentional uniqueness with the craftsmanship. And I'm just kind of, now I'm actually interested because these look amazing. And then my next question is, do they smell good? So this one got a 3.5. This one got a 3. This one got a 3.32. This one got a 4, but it still is out of a very small sample size. And some of these other fragrances have gotten actually amazing scores. And so it just led me down this rabbit hole of kind of begging the question, did he do that Toscavat line, and even this one, merely as kind of one of those things where his true calling is in bottle design? Now, we don't know if he is the bottle designer, but this I really do have respect for, because this is some of the coolest bottle presentation I think I've ever seen. It's got this very wood shop, high school wood shop with actual modern elegance. They look very one of one, handmade. And then I began to be more vested. And now I was trying to find, well, which fragrance out of these has he been a part of that's gotten a lot of high ratings? And then there's just really interesting titles: Belly of the Beast, Inexhaustible Evil, My Past Selves, Pining Dew, Silent at the Theme Park. I mean, these are just all very unique titles. This one got a 4 out of 5. And so now I have to, I thought it was a one and done, but now I have to go back and see these different fragrances he was a part of and try to look at some of his more accomplished work to see if the perfumery is just as beautiful as the bottles. And we've seen this before, because the reality is, like, we see sometimes, like, for instance, with Argos and other companies, where they've got some just impeccable bottle design and craftsmanship, everything from simple to really complex. And so it's just really interesting to see, because sometimes we can run into a situation where we might buy fragrances off the merit of the bottle and then find out the juice doesn't match up, or maybe it's got exquisite juice, but the design is off. And it just sparked this whole conversation about, like, man, had I not observed the house a little bit deeper for an extra couple of maybe 20 seconds, I wouldn't have gone down a rabbit hole of seeing all these beautiful bottles, right? and trying to find some cool scents. Now, also the big X factor here is that the perfumer is so experimental. So the payoff is like when you take a risk in perfumery from a juice standpoint, you might suck 10 times, but really knock something out of the park because you're just doing so many things out of the box. You know, it's almost like a broken clock is right at least 2 times a day type of mentality. Like you experiment and you perfect your craft at the same time. You might not have as many bangers back to back, but then you might make some revolutionary juice and now your life changes. You know what I'm saying? So it made me think about some of the different art periods where, for instance, there was one where an artist took a urinal and put it on a wall, and it drew a lot of controversy and attention because he questioned the idea of, you know, what is art and beauty is perception, and you know, you got to see all these cool movements where they had these things called ready-mades, you know, everyday things that we design that are artistic and are masterfully done in some cases, and yet we'll never call them art because they're not on a gallery wall. That was the whole idea. But this is stuff that maybe a lot of you don't care about, you know, but this is my journey. And in my journey, I'm just coming across some interesting stuff. Like, for instance, here, I'm seeing some of the coolest bottle designs I've ever seen, and it's inspired me to go into a house. I think stories are very important today, and context and dialogue, because there's more ways to sell a product than just the juice. And a lot of times brand names build their entire aesthetic around their name and prestige and the people who talk about them selling their fragrances for them, not just the juice. And some juices are magnified by the presence of the brand and the logo more than the actual artistry of the juice making. So it's just interesting. I'm really interested in seeing your guys' feedback on this. Have you ever experienced anything like this in your journey? I know I'm personally going to go try some more Toscavat fragrances, even some other ones not from that house that this perfumer has been a part of, to see if they've got any bangers, because if so, it's kind of like the Nasamato effect where having those bottles is just really cool to have. Now, Nasamato's Baronda and Pardon are incredible, you know, and their bottle presentations are exquisite. So having those on your shelf is a really cool deal. But these bottles take it to a whole nother degree. So that's what's going on in my journey right now. Again, I'm interested in you guys sounding off in the comments. Has there been anything in your journey where you were about to write something off and just then you had a smell experience or looking into a house, and then that story kind of transformed your whole perception of the brand, and then you found something really amazing, and had you not given it the extra thought, you would have overlooked it? I know with Michael Paul, for instance, it's been a real treat to hear about the stories and their approach to the perfumery, because you almost approach their fragrances with a little bit more hopefulness. Like, man, he really put a lot of thought and effort into it. Let's see if if the juice kind of consolidates all of this really cool story and branding and history and all that stuff. And you really get to praise a juice and see it in a different light when you take into context all the energy that went into it. And it also just goes to show not everybody out there is out there trying to take your dollar and replicate similar juice ideas. And there are some people that really are in it for art's sake and want to stand out and be different and create some new innovations in the space. So anyways, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. More importantly, turn on that notification bell. If you're interested in the podcast, I know a lot of people have really been enjoying it. I have tons of episodes. Typically, my episodes have multiple guests, so I'm going to put on the left and right-hand side of the screen a few of my prior episodes recently that have been getting a lot of attention, mainly the response video to, what's his name? What is his name? Now you guys are going to make me go look it up. I almost said Andrew. What is his name? We're going to have a slow pause. Justin Copeland. So I had a response video to Justin Copeland's commentary on the clone game. We also just have like, battles with other influencers to see different fragrances for different occasions and stuff. So we're going to recommend those on the left and right hand side of the screen. Definitely tap in. I'm going to head out, but you can stick around and enjoy all of my 900 plus video vault of fragrance content. So if you're into stuff like that, definitely stick around for a while. We've got a blooming, amazing community that's constantly growing, and I appreciate you guys for your time. Again, hope you guys enjoyed the latest episode of the Frag Effect. And soon we're going to get this podcast on all platforms so you guys can listen on Spotify and Apple and all that good stuff. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a blessed week. And until next time, peace.